So today's video again is going to be about boxing. So I have been doing boxing for about a year now. To give you a little bit of a context, I signed up to a white collar boxing fight last year in August. I started training from September onwards and now it's October. So I have been training for about a year now. In terms of the kind of training that I have done for my fight, of course I trained twice a week, 2-3 times a week with the group. And I also done some extra work outside of it in the gym, do some bag work, do some basic conditioning exercises. After I have had my white collar boxing fight, which was in November, I kept it up and I kept training. I still kept training in the gym, hitting the bag, working on techniques, conditioning, and I also went to one session a week with to the boxing gym. So I haven't trained that much really. I mean, I could have trained way more. One session a week is, I mean, if you train more, of course, you're going to get more results and you're going to improve more. But in this video, what I'm going to do is show you how much you can improve by roughly about 1 year of training when it comes to boxing. As I said, I could have trained way harder, could have trained way more, but hopefully I'll give you a good idea of how much you can achieve and how much you can improve when it comes to boxing. So with everything, of course, I mean, when you first start off with boxing, you improve way more because you haven't done it before. It's, you know, beginner gains or whatever you want to call them. I mean, in the gym, you get this as well. And the more advanced you get, the harder it becomes for you to improve. Currently, I've been doing it for a year now and I'm still not that good. Of course, I'm not good. I've done a little bit of sparring a while back. It's good. And also you have to remember that the footage that I'm about to show you is based on bag work, based on hitting the bag. I've done sparring before and it's completely different. I mean, hitting the bag and hitting another person is a completely different ballgame. You can have the perfect technique when it comes to hitting the bag, but if you haven't done sparring before, then oftentimes this technique will go out the window because you get a bit more emotional, the adrenaline gets over you, because you haven't done it before. You have to feel comfortable when you're sparring against another person. That person, not unlike the bag, actually moves, actually hits back as well. The bag just stays there, stays still for you to hit it, for you to smash the shit out of it. It's a little bit different. So just because someone's got good technique on the bag, that does not mean that it translates to fighting as well. And yeah, man, I mean, when you do sparring, you find this out very quickly. It's a scary situation and it becomes very real when a natural person is out there in front of you trying to take your head off as well as you're trying to do the same. But anyway, as I said, these clips are going to be just me hitting the bag. Starting from the time before I started doing this white collar boxing, started doing the boxing training in general. This first video, by this time I already signed up to white collar boxing. And I bought myself boxing gloves, so I thought, okay, well, there's a boxing bag at the gym, so let me actually have a go at it without any training. So I am a boxing fan, I would say I watch boxing. So based on what I see on the TV, I started smashing the shit out of the bag. I have my laptop with me, so I'm going to react to these clips. But yeah, as I was saying, I was just kind of smashing the shit out of the bags. These jabs don't really have much venom to them. Right hands, can you even call them right hands? I mean, I guess for a beginner it's not too bad, but after doing this, I mean, if you haven't really done any boxing or sparring before or anything like that, when you first hit the bag, you just feel like the man. You're like, look at me, I'm hitting the bag, I'm quick. And then when you rewatch it, it's a bit tragic. At the time when I rewatched it, I thought I was doing okay, but of course I haven't done any training before, or no one ever showed me the technique or how to do things. But this was what it was like for me at the beginning. I remember when I first started as well, I couldn't do combinations. I couldn't do a jab, right hand, and a hook as a combination, a three punch combination. I couldn't do this. I don't know why. It's just when I hit that 1-2. That third just didn't come naturally, and I know it comes with training, which obviously eventually I improved. But yeah, as I was saying, this was one of the first times that I was really hitting the bag, so it wasn't very good. I mean, I'm a guy who goes to the gym a lot, I exercise, I do different sports, so I'm in shape already, so I guess that helps when it comes to boxing as well. But I wasn't prepared to how hard it actually is. It's a completely different ballgame. I mean, you can play football, you can play basketball, all these sports. Boxing is completely different, you know. I mean, it is literally the purest form of competition. You are going up against someone and he's trying to take your head off and you're trying to take that person's head off. You learn a lot from this. Trust me, you learn a lot from this. So this second clip is actually after I started training. So I had a couple of sessions and the coaches have showed me how to hit certain punches, especially jabs and right hands. And here I'm just trying to practice and trying to get the technique right really, because once the coach showed me how to do it, it kind of confused me even more because, I mean, there's so much to the technique. There's so many little details you have to get right, especially to get the speed. But as you can see here, these jabs are still not really doing much, really, are they? Not really causing any damage. And again, here you can see the hook still doesn't really come naturally for me. But yeah, I'm just kind of practicing those shots and just trying to fine tune it and get the technique right, really. So this is pretty bad. I mean, it's kind of expected when you haven't really done it before. This may have been like week 1 or week 2, I think, so it's pretty early in the training as well. So after a few weeks of training, I got on a little bit better, and by now I was able to do jabs and right hands. Of course, it still looks very robotic, but yeah, this is kind of what I was doing. I think it must have been like week 3, week 4 of training. We had 2 training sessions a week. I went to an extra one on Wednesday, which was also very useful. And also I was hitting the bag in the gym a lot, like in this example, for example. But yeah, I was just practicing straight punches in this case. And I remember I used to be obsessed with right hooks. I don't know why. I guess it just comes naturally to someone who hasn't done boxing before. I have no idea. But yeah, this was me trying to get things right. I mean, as you can see, the hooks are still very good, bad, robotic as well. But yeah, just practicing the basics in this case. I mean, head movement doesn't even come to the equation at this point or anything like that. Especially, I'm a guy who's 6'4". I'm pretty tall, and I'd say I'm pretty skinny as well. So I normally fight short fighters. So I mean, I need to work on things like jab, because that's, you know, it's important. So it's important to keep the opponent away like that. So fast forward to a couple of weeks after that, this is kind of how I was able to do punches, and I improved a little bit. I mean, my punch is a little bit faster, a little bit more fluid, as you do when you start to slowly get a technique right. I mean, I'm not saying the technique is still bad and still very robotic, but even today my technique is not perfect and it's not good. It's only been a year. I'm still a beginner if you think about it. I mean, having boxed for a year, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. I'm a complete beginner. You have to look at it. You have to look at it this way, man. You have to look at yourself as a beginner, and you have to always have the willingness to improve. But yeah, this is what it was now. I'm trying double jabs and things as well. Right hand, hooks. Still not very good, but slowly getting a bit better, as you can see. And this was, I think, week 3, week 4. As the weeks kind of progressed and I got closer to my fight, my thing was I was really practicing on jabs and just straight punches a lot, because of course I have long reach, I have long arms. So jabs were quite an important thing for me to work on. That's what the coaches was telling me as well. So here, for example, you can see my jabs are a little bit more fluid, a little bit faster, a little bit more venom to them. So technique, I slowly got a little bit better at this, which I was able to use at my fight very well, by the way. Yeah, it's, well, of course, it's still not very good. And my distance management is bad. Even now my combinations are pretty robotic and they don't really have much speed to them. No, never mind power. As a beginner, I guess, for me, my thing was I could focus on speed or I could focus on power. I couldn't do two at the same time. If I was to be fast, my punches didn't have any venom to them. But if I was to be powerful, then they weren't very fast. I mean, I guess maybe this is something that most beginners have. I don't have a clue. I don't know much about this, but yeah. And after this is when I had my white collar boxing fight. This was a fun event where I went and actually fought another person. Apart from this bag work, of course, we did some sparring when it comes to the white collar boxing. But as I was saying, when you're up against someone else, your technique goes out the window. There's a little bit of footage, as you can see here. I mean, my technique wasn't very good here, of course. It's way more fluid on the bag. I mean, as it normally is, because the bag doesn't hit back. It's not a stressful situation when you're hitting the shit out of the bag. Perhaps it's tiring, but you know, it's emotionally pretty easy because I mean, it doesn't hit you back. It's just for you to practice your shots. But as you can see, you know, when people are hitting you back and you're up against someone else, your technique becomes a little bit, well, you have to get used to the situation for you to perfect your technique here as well, because if you're not calm or not relaxed, then often this technique is going to go out the window, especially if you haven't done a fight before. I mean, I guess with everything, right? The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. But yeah, this was my fight. It was a very good fight, very good experience. I have actually done a video on this, so if you want to watch that, then I have left a link in the description where you can check it out. So make sure you do that. After my fight, as I was saying, I kept up the training and I kept trying to improve, and I went once a week on Wednesdays to train. I still do that, by the way. And of course, in the gym, at the same time I was hitting the bag, I did my normal workouts, you know, the usual bodybuilding workouts every day most of the times. And at the end of the session, I maybe spend like 5-10 minutes to hit the bag or do a bit of skipping and basic stuff like that. This next bit of footage is actually after my fight. I think it must have been January time. So I had my fight in November and this was January. So here, as you can see, I'm way, way better now. Jabs a little bit better, combinations I can throw already, kind of bit of movement on the hips, just a little bit better, you know, small improvements. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it all comes with time, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Some of it is quite simple stuff, simple combinations, but if you keep doing them over and over again, you will improve this and you will learn the ideal technique after a while. And even now, my technique is not perfect, but I mean, it's better. I mean, my distance management is still bad. I'm pretty close to the bag, even though I should be a bit further up, as I'm, you know, my reach is pretty long, and it's very long actually. But yeah, this is what it looks like. You can see I'm throwing double hooks to one side as well, which is good. And you know, just have a bit more weapons in my arsenal, I guess you could say. After this, I kind of kept training and training. This footage, I believe, is from around March time. Yeah. So as you can see, this is me. My jabs are way faster now. I can do double jabs faster too. Just a bit more fluid when it comes to everything. Feet is better. I'm able to put more power from my hips, from my legs, and you know, it's just a bit more. I can do more combinations at this time. These are all small improvements, but eventually they add up, and when you look back on yourself from where you started from, you kind of realize that you actually come quite far. This next bit as well, this was a little bit afterwards, I think, and again, I'm just trying to get a bit more smoother, trying to work on head movement, slipping and stuff. You know, this is something that I remember one of the sessions we were learning about, and I try to apply it as much as I possibly can with the bag. I mean, the bag doesn't hit back, so it's different to slip the bag than to slip an actual person, but you get my point, just trying to work on different stuff. And as you can see, my combination is a little bit better already as well. So this was about April, May time, I want to say. Fast forward to October, which is currently, this is when I'm recording this video. This next bit of footage is actually from today. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm way faster currently. My punches are a bit better. They're more efficient. I'm able to put my hips into the shots. More movement. Going in and out of range a bit more often. More speed. Speed and power at the same time, so it's a bit stronger. So I guess I've come a long way if you think about it, but as I was saying, I haven't trained as hard as I could have trained. I definitely could have come a longer way, if that's even a thing to say, but you get my point. Yeah, but here, as you can see, my jabs are better, double jabs, combinations, a bit more movement, hooks are pretty good. One thing I worked on a lot actually is 1-2, so as you can see, they're pretty fluid here. But yeah, this is kind of the improvement that I've made over roughly 1 year of boxing. And this is something that's definitely achievable by you or anyone watching as well, because as I was saying, I haven't trained every day. I mean, I did my bag work in the gym and I trained once or twice a week or 3 times when I was training for my boxing fight. But apart from that, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing you cannot achieve, you know, especially if you're someone who's already athletic. This is something that you can definitely fit into your schedule as well. I mean, do a bit of bag work at the end of your workouts, go to a couple of boxing sessions here and there. Also, sparring doesn't hurt either. That's something that you can prepare for a real situation and see what it is like, see the difference between hitting a bag, hitting an actual opponent who doesn't just stay still and hits back as well. One thing I've actually noticed after rewatching this recording from today is that my distance management is still not quite perfect. Also, when you're getting into boxing, it's actually quite good to record your sessions or record, I mean, even when you hit the bag in the gym by yourself, record that, because you can pick up on so many different things. It can be anything like, oh, I'm too close to the bag, right hooks are weak, basic stuff you can pick up on, and this is something that you can improve on for the next time, you know, keeping yourself accountable. It's a very good way to do this. And also, I mean, when you look back as well, like in this case, right, I've recorded some bag work from ever since I started going to, you know, boxing sessions and starting boxing. So it's a good way to look back on it and see, okay, I started from this and now I'm this good. And it's a good way to be like, oh, actually, I've improved more than I thought I improved. So it's a cool way to look back on it. But as I was saying, I definitely could have improved way more. I mean, if I trained every day, I mean, I would have been better. But I mean, I would have, could have, should have. It doesn't matter, right? This is how much I've done. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I mean, when it comes to boxing, this is kind of how much you can improve within 1 year. This is something that's actually, as I was saying, pretty achievable too. If you put in more work, you can definitely get more out of this as well. I mean, a lot of it depends on talent as well, how athletic you are. If you're already in shape, already a person that goes to the gym, this will be easier for you. But yeah, man, I mean, this is, I feel like it's a good benchmark to have and to see how much you can improve in 1 year. Doing boxing for 1 year actually is pretty much nothing. I mean, you're still a beginner. I feel like a beginner right now. I mean, some of the guys out there are just amazing, and they could really, really hurt you. And there are levels to this stuff as well. Like when you do boxing, it humbles you so much because you realize there are levels, man. There are some people out there who are just so good and you're just like, whoa, this is crazy. But yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is what it was for this one. If you enjoy content, other content to do with self-improvement, I talk about different stuff like sports, boxing in this case, sometimes even football, going to the gym, working out, traveling for self-improvement, and just generally becoming a better version of yourself, improving your charisma and stuff like that. Then consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and watch out for the next video, which will actually come out next week.